Welcome to Wellspring on the Air. I'm Nicole Alfonso, a therapist at Wellspring and the host of today's show about people skills and your teen's mental health. With me today to discuss this important topic is Joan Ramirez. Together, we want to tell you about how social skills can be positive for your teen's mental health. So stay with us. We've got some good information coming your way. So Joan, thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes to speaking about what you do at Dale Carnegie and the benefits that our teens can grow in by learning people skills and how that can benefit their mental health. So before we get into the nitty gritty, would you be so kind as to do a little introduction for those people listening?
Such a pleasure to be here today. Thank you, Nicole. I'm Joan Ramirez. I'm a mother of two. I studied psychology at Trinity International University. Most of my work experience is in education, and I enjoy gardening. I'm a small group leader and a pastoral care team member of my church. But today I'm here to talk to you about one of my passions, which is being Director of Youth Development for Dale Carnegie.
Awesome. Thank you again. I love that you talk about some of the things you do on your free time, because we need those things to keep us going, the gardening and just your ministry. So thank you. So Joan, tell us, what are some soft skills? What does that mean? And how can they help improve a person's mental health?
Okay, so soft skills are self-confidence, communication, interpersonal skills, managing stress and anxiety, their leadership skills. They're all those things that you probably aren't learning in an academic setting, but that can make all the difference in the world for your quality of life and even your success at school and work and in all of your relationships, really.
Yeah, I think those are such huge skills. Sometimes even more like than academic. Like obviously academic is important, but like how you engage with people, right? How you manage your schoolwork and you're organized, and how you engage in group interactions, right? Those are so huge for you to become a successful person.
Absolutely. And being able to interview well, for instance. You can be brilliant and have straight A's, but if you can't talk to people, it's going to hurt you a little bit, right? And then somebody else may not be quite as academic, but they're so likable that, they do very well in life. So, it's all of, if you can maximize both, all the better.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that you don't necessarily work with mental health in itself, but you work with this other part of a person's life that does impact mental health, right?
Absolutely. It was really amazing to me. I actually looked up mental health before I got on, and it was like the overlap is huge. We don't do the psychological part, but the social skills and the emotional skills, the decision making, there's a huge overlap with mental health.
Yeah, definitely. It's like we're so many parts, but it all comes together, and it's important for us to be well-rounded. So let's see. Let's talk about why are soft skills so crucial for teens in particular?
Well, for teens, first of all, we're all relational. I mean, in Genesis, it says that it's not good for man to be alone. So God created us to be in community. And our teens are struggling sometimes, especially now. I mean, it's always been a need, but after COVID and, with the technology, more than ever, our teens need to learn the skills of how to connect with other people, because while they kind of act like they don't care, they do care. Mm-hmm. And a lot of their stresses and their traumas are relationship related. And managing stress and anxiety, which is, teens they report, according to the American Psychological Association, they report the highest level of stress, anxiety, and depression of any other age group. So they really need those soft skills of being able to manage the stress and anxiety. So those are just two of their skills. I mean, we have the leadership and the confidence and decision making. And decision making, of course, is so important for teens because We want them to make good decisions and to be confident in themselves so they're not following the wrong crowd, right?
Yeah, that's like a huge thing because I feel like middle school into high school is that moment where one wrong decision can lead you down like a bad path, you know, and it's like, and their brains aren't fully developed well enough to sometimes make good decisions, you know, and so giving, you know, teaching them some skills that could help them, you know, question more, like what is the right decision right now, right, and things like that.
And I think being able to have those skills to make friends so that they're choosing good friends instead of just kind of following whoever, you know, someone else, because those are the people that are nice to them. You know, if they have the people skills and they're able to say, these are the kind of people I want to hang with, you know, they're going to make it a more positive group.
Yeah, and I also feel like during the past couple of years, because of COVID, their people skills have been limited because it's been technology based, right? So not a lot of face-to-face stuff, just like texting, and that is somewhat impersonal. And sometimes you don't say the same things when you're in person with someone than you would in text. And so I feel like that's an added piece that kids kind of missed out on, is that continued like in-person conversations, in-person confrontations, sometimes hard conversations, right? That they may be avoiding because they don't know how to do that, or, you know?
Absolutely. That in person has become less of a comfortable thing than it was before, right?
Yeah.
And as far as communication goes, you know, we also cover communication. And while we think of that as getting up in front of people and talking, and they do become comfortable doing that. And they become comfortable where they can speak up in a group, which is going to help them at school. It's going to help them at work. But we also help them to understand, just because they're texting or they're emailing, which I know depending on the age, they might not do that much email, but they need to know how to do that well as well. Because just because they're doing it doesn't mean they're doing it well, right?
Yeah.
So communication, we have many modes of communication, but are we doing any of them well?
That's a great point. So is there any story you would like to share with us about someone you served at Carnegie?
When I first started with Dale Carnegie, I went to a teen graduation, and we had this young man. He got up to speak at graduation, and he said before he came to Dale Carnegie, he just didn't really think he had any friends, and that the people who talked to him were just kind of being nice. But after going to Dale Carnegie, he realized that the people that were consistently around him were actually his friends. And then later at the graduation, he won an award, and he got up to speak, and he said, I can't even tell you what this means to me, because I've had very little affirmation in my life. And I'm just standing there at graduation thinking, oh my gosh, this is a young man that 3 days ago felt alienated and alone and discouraged, who is now, he realizes he has friends. He knows how to make more friends. He's encouraged. He's confident. That's a life that is totally changed and going in a whole different direction. And that's just one story. There's so many. Come to Dale Carnegie graduation. They're amazing.
So Joan, thank you for sharing that story about this young man that graduated from Dale Carnegie. This gives me that opening to ask, tell us about Dale Carnegie. Who was he, and why did he create this organization, this program?
So Dale Carnegie, and believe it or not, in 1912, was teaching public speaking to professionals in a YMCA. And as part of the process, he would have people get up and talk about their day. And as he listened to people talk about their day, all these different people talking about their day, he realized what people really needed was improved people skills. So he went to get some research so he could help his clients to have better people skills. And as much as he searched and as much as he reached out, nobody had ever done a study on successful people skills. So he got an assistant, and for 2 years, they studied the most successful people who ever lived up to his time. And they studied how did they relate to people? what positive relationships, how do they build those positive relationships? And so he brought that back, and he was training his people on the, people skills. He wrote a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, which was the best-selling book of all time after the Bible, until the Harry Potter books came out.
Wow.
It's still the best-selling business book of all time, and we actually have a brand new book. It's the same tremendous principles that stand the test of time, but just brought up to our times. And then he also later he realized after World War II that people were still really stressed, even though World War II was over. Their stress and their anxiety levels were super high. So he went back to get information. He couldn't get the information on managing stress and anxiety. So he did another massive study. He wrote a book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, and incorporated that into his program. And as his clients were growing their social skills, their life skills, their employers were seeing, tremendous change in them and tremendous benefit in having employees that had these skills. And so they started sending their people to Dale Carnegie. And so now for over 100 years, we've been training. Now it's mostly corporate employers that employ us, but we're all over the world. We're in 80 countries. We're in 30 languages. We've changed over 8 million lives and still growing.
Wow.
About 40 some odd years ago, we decided to start a teen program because we found that our graduates would be so excited about the skills that they had and how their lives had changed. But often they would say to us, man, where would I be today if I had these skills 20 years ago? So we said, let's start a teen program. Let's offer the same core principles that they're going to get, the 5 drivers for success that they will get in the adult program for the Dale Carnegie program, and offer this to teens. So now today, teens have the ability to take this class in high school. It's going to help them with their high school. It's going to help them to be more confident, to make friends, to take on leadership roles, to manage their academic stress. It's going to help them to get into college because it's a beautiful thing on their resume, their application, when they have a leadership program like Dale Carnegie. And then when they go off to college, they're ready. They have the life skills. There was actually a study done. The World Health Organization determined 10 life skills that people need to be able to cope with their situation and for their mental health. So there was a study done with freshmen in a high school, and they had their control group and they had their group that got to take a life skill program. And after the program, the freshmen, because this is a very stressful time in life, going away to college, they're away from their family and their friends, they're in a strange situation, they've got their academics to keep up. So it's a very high stress time in life. But they found that the young people that were able to get these life skills reported much higher mental health than the ones that were in the control group that weren't able to get those skills.
Wow, I love that, because I could see how some people have difficulty engaging with others and their anxiety level rises to a point where it can be debilitating, like they can't do it, right? And so if they learn the skills, their confidence rises, their anxiety goes down,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Wow, love it. This is amazing. I'm definitely signing up my son when he is of age to do it.
Wonderful.
We're going to go ahead and take a break to thank one of our sponsors who makes the production of our podcast possible. When we come back, we'll hear more from Joan about steps we can take to help our kids learn these skills. So stay with us. Welcome back to Wellspring on the Air. This is Nicole Alfonso. If you're just joining our show, our topic today is people skills and teens' mental health. So far today, we've talked about how soft skills can help teens with their mental health. If you joined us late, you can find us on our favorite podcast channel on Wellspring on the Air or on our website blog page at wellspringmiami.org. Just search for this topic. So, Joan, what are ways teens can learn soft skills?
Okay, so I would say, first of all, coach your teens. Don't expect them to know this stuff. Talk to them about it and talk to them about the value. Why they should be using these social skills. So often we tell our kids, smile, look at people in the eyes. We don't really explain to them what the benefit is for them. And people tend to respond better when they see that there's a value for them. So talk to them about the value, tell them stories. For instance, I have a story. We were stuck in Orlando with a hurricane coming our way. We couldn't go north because the East Coast was evacuating. We didn't want to go south because the hurricane was coming. And the hotel was telling us we couldn't stay another night. And so we were in a bit of a panic. And I sent my adult daughter down to talk to the front desk. And on the way down, she's in the elevator and she sees this person next to her with a case of water. And she notices she has a beautiful ring. And instead of just thinking, oh, what a nice ring, she actually said, oh, wow, you have a beautiful ring. And so they had a very quick conversation. My daughter goes down to the front desk. They're telling her, honey, I understand. We wish we could help you, but we have no rooms. And then she hears a voice in the back of the line say, excuse me, I'm leaving early. I'm checking out early and I want this woman to get my room. So she comes back and tells me, Mom, we not only have a room, we have an upgrade. So you never know how just being friendly, just being friendly might be of benefit. So you have stories that you can tell your children of maybe you help someone pick up their books that fell and all of a sudden now you're best friends. You have stories. Tell your children, help them to see the value, because today kids just want to get on their phone so often. Another thing you can do is, just make sure that they're getting exposure to different groups of people, different circumstances. Let them practice and just, coach them on this, don't go up to them while they're, talking to the person, but, before or after, just kind of give them some tips and get them to practice, because that's what's going to make the difference. And another thing I would say is, let's look at our own social skills. We may know how to talk to people. We may know how to look at them in the eyes. But there are other social skills. For instance, one of Dale Carnegie's principles, his first principle is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. So we need to look at ourselves. Are we able to correct our children without criticizing, condemning, complaining? Do we know how to do that? Do we model good conflict resolution for our children? So we can grow as individuals and be better models for our children. So that's another suggestion that I have for you.
Oh, yeah, these are really good.
And the other thing is avoid rescuing your child. Even in middle school, if your child has a concern with a teacher or something they're unclear of, it's very easy for them to say, hey, Mom, can you just email my teacher? And honestly, as a parent, I've been there. It's just really easy to shoot off that email. But what we don't realize is we're really doing that. When we do that, we're really telling our children, I don't trust you to handle this. You can't handle this yet. But if we allow them to do it, they're going to stretch. They're going to stretch those muscles. They're going to flex those muscles, and they're going to develop the ability to communicate. And when they manage that situation, they're going to have more self-confidence as a result of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you could start by saying, hey, why don't you create the email? And I'll look at it, make sure, it seems good, and I'll give you some feedback. But you do it, you can do it, right? And encourage them. Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes we as parents can handicap our kids.
With the very best of intentions.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But we have to kind of let them try, let them fail, right? That's how they're going to learn. Okay. So Joan, tell us about the 5 drivers of success. These are the ones that are, those 5 areas that Dale Carnegie really focuses on. Tell us about them.
So when a teen takes the Dale Carnegie program, they're going to develop self-confidence in the process of everything else that we're doing. They're going to become comfortable talking in front of people. They're going to be comfortable talking to people. They're going to have better interpersonal skills. So they're going to know how to win people over to their way of thinking. It's kind of like a lot of people tell me, well, my child takes debate. Debate is wonderful in its place. It's definitely got critical thinking skills. But with debate, you have a winner and a loser. With Dale Carnegie, you have 2 winners, because you're going to say, teach your son, instead of arguing with his little brother about what movie they're going to see, he's going to find a way to talk to his little brother in a way that his brother's going to go, hey, yeah, actually, you're talking about something I care about too. So yes, let's do that. So it's a win-win situation.
Mm.
They're learning empathy. They're learning to look at things from the other person's perspective. Um, they're learning, stronger people skills, leadership skills, better decision making, managing stress and anxiety, which all of these things relate to every area of their lives, whether they're at home, they're dealing with people, most likely. I mean, obviously their children, so they're going to have people at home. When they go to school, they've got to manage their stress and anxiety, their social stress, they've got to manage their academic stress. They've got to deal with teachers and friends and people that maybe aren't friends. And if when they want to apply for a job or work at a job, they're going to have to get along as well and work in a team and all of that. So it helps every area of their life.
So those 5 areas, just to repeat, are self-confidence, interpersonal communication, managing stress, anxiety, and attitude, leadership skills, and communication. Those are the 5 success drivers of success. Awesome.
And I have to say, Warren Buffett took Dale Carnegie when he was 20 years old. And you can get on the internet today and he'll tell you that it changed his life, that he was very shy. He could not talk in front of people. And it's the only diploma he has on his office wall, not his college degree, not his advanced degrees, only his Dale Carnegie, because it really changed his life. So that's a pretty good testimony right there.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And the fact that he has that on his wall means it was so meaningful. It had so much value to him that he'd rather put that than all the other degrees, right?
Yes. And I'll tell you, it's a pleasure. I often run into people who took Dale Carnegie maybe 30 years ago. And when they talk about it, the smile on their face is amazing. They remember it. They remember it fondly, and they will tell you that it changed their lives for the better.
Oh, I love that. So tell us, what kind of programs you offer? How do you offer them so that our listeners can look you guys up?
Okay. So we have programs for adults, of course. We have the teen program. We do the teen programs usually during the breaks, in school. So maybe summer, maybe Christmas time. And we offer, we're in schools. We help with nonprofits. We come into organizations and we will work with you to make sure that it's exactly meeting your goals and your needs. So we customize to the customer.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you're interested in knowing more about it, Dale Carnegie Training of Southeast Florida, you can look us up online.
Awesome. Yeah, I did that. I actually did that before we are recording, and I just was really just happy with what you guys are offering, and definitely want my son to take your courses. So awesome. I'm so grateful for just you coming on and being able to share with us. Any final thoughts that you would like parents or just listeners to know about your program?
Yeah, I would say that when your teen takes the Dale Carnegie course, there are little fringe benefits to it, because it's not just the teen, the benefits. I had at one of our live online graduations recently, we had a teen talk about how they had moved further away from the school, so he was struggling to get up on time. And every morning it was an argument with his mom on the way to school. And after taking Dale Carnegie, he learned to look at things from the other person's perspective. And he realized that his mom was only giving him a hard time because she wanted him to be successful. And so he stopped arguing with her about it. He realized he was in the wrong. His mom talked to us after and said, her life is so much improved because he's got this ability now to look at things from the other point of view. And one of the things Dale Carnegie teaches too is when you're wrong, admit it promptly and emphatically. So he's learned to be, more empathetic and more honest with his role in things. And so the relationships get better, which is a wonderful thing.
That's really good, because I feel like teens are very me focused, which is normal, I think. But for them to be able to see how their actions and behaviors affect other people, that's really powerful.
Absolutely. And I'd like to leave you with a quote from Dale Carnegie. He says, "You can make more friends in 2 months being interested in other people than you can in 2 years trying to get them interested in you."
That's good. That's really good. So good. Thank you so much, Joan, for joining us today and just sharing about the programs and Dale Carnegie and the wonderful things you guys are doing for everybody that is part of your program. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here and to share about this program.
It is time to close out the show. Thank you again, Joan Ramirez, for joining us today and shedding light on the topic of people skills and how it can improve our teens' mental health. We hope you learned some valuable information and you learned something new to help your teen thrive. Thank you for joining our show today. Again, if you joined this program midstream, you can find this show and others on podcast at Wellspring on the Air or on our blog on wellspringmiami.org. The title of today's show again was People Skills and Your Teen's Mental Health. Encourage us and let us know you're listening by sending comments or questions to ontheair@wellspringmiami.org. It is time to wrap up. This is Nicole Alfonso with Wellspring on the Air, because hearts and minds matter.